Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to a bit of an experiment. Today, I'm going to be giving you a bit of a tour of I wasn't really sure what to call it, so I've gone with sort of cave slash office, because this is my office and also where I have an awful lot of the things that people would put in, as it were, their man cave. So this is like a combination room, hence the combination title. Hello, Matthew. Good afternoon. Um, and I have a roving camera for this job, which I'm going to be using my mobile phone with a USB connection. So hopefully the camera quality should be pretty good. Shouldn't be too laggy or full of glitchy video artifacts. Just making sure it's still working. Yep, it's all good. It's all good. We're good to go. And yeah, I guess I'm going to try and make sure I can see the chat at all times through this, so that I can do my best to try and answer questions as we go. And there we are. I was going to wait just a couple of minutes because it wasn't a huge amount of notice that I gave people as to what we were doing today. But I'm looking forward to it. Should be fun. Actually, I'll put that back where it came from. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Whew. But nonetheless, good afternoon. Hopefully everyone's doing okay, and hopefully this will be as fun as I'm hoping it will be, if that makes sense. A very hot cup of coffee. Whoa. And yeah. Now it's been a while since actually I've shown or I've been round this room with a camera. It's a room that's about 2.3 meters square, so it's not the biggest room in the world. But I think I've made something quite nice and cozy. And really, what I was after when I set up my office was a space that would be inspiring, that would be comfortable, that I would actually want to spend time working. And for example, this morning I was doing some editing work for a local university archaeology department, and I do enjoy being here. I was able to pop out, get some footage, and then come back and edit to my heart's content in a space that I genuinely love and adore. So yeah, let's. Oh, also as well, I'm waiting. Let's see, it's about 6 hours to go until the release of a game that I backed on essentially a Kickstarter equivalent. It's called The Shore. It's like a Lovecraftian nightmare first-person game that's launching today, and I thought that might have meant midnight last night. So last night I was watching Beck Mech's live stream of a game that looks really cool. It's like Space Dwarves. I was watching that, waiting for midnight, and I was sort of saying in the chat, "Oh, you've got 5 minutes to go, 10 seconds to go," and it never launched. And then at 7 o'clock this morning, it hadn't launched, and I went onto their website, and apparently it's launching at 8 p.m. UK time, and they're a French developer, so 9 p.m. I suppose, French time. So I've got 6 hours to kill, plus a session of Among Us to play before I can play it as well. So yeah, it's I figured let's have some fun looking around the office. Exactly, a nice cozy cave. That's precisely what I've endeavoured to set up here, and I think we're probably good to go. So how are we going to do this? We're going to do this by, first of all, I'm going to switch to my can't watch, mate, but will lurk. Hope you're well. I am well. That game still hasn't launched, Beck. It's going to be 8 o'clock this evening when it launches. I'm going crazy. Anyway, we're going to switch to the second camera view, which is what my phone's currently pointing at. And the first thing you may well notice is, first of all, it's a bit of a mess. This might be the fastest you've clicked on a stream. Hello, Willem Dafoe's Fruitcake. One of the first things you might notice is the big shiny bin here, which actually is going to be R2D2 bin 2.0. R2D2 bin is currently in the living room through that door there. So this is going to be there. It's a slightly larger volume. I'm going to take away a bit of volume at the bottom in order to make it a bit more R2D2 shaped, but that's going to be R2D2 bin 2.0. To give you a bit of a sense of context, as I say, this room is 2.3 meters square. So over there is the setup that I use in my business life. As an archaeologist, I do lots of videos and educational stuff, and sometimes I need a background, and this is the background that I use for that. Most of it is stuff that people have sent me over the years. So we have all manner of weird and wonderful things, collecting moderate amounts of dust. But that's the background for that, including my library. I've got hundreds of books around the house, and this is some of the archaeology books that I use in my day-to-day research. And then up above we have lots of just sort of boring storage. So yeah, everything from lighter fuel to laminators. There's some spare microphone stuff up there, all bits and bobs. So stuff sort of, as it were, above head height. Not really always commonly seen. And then above us is the ceiling, which I have put some soundproofing tiles on. Initially I was a bit like, oh, can we do that? Because I've been, all my life we've rented. And I was a bit like, oh my goodness, can we do that? And my wife was like, of course we can. It's our house. So that takes away some of the echo in this room. But anyway, that's what's to my right. So as it were, let's point at the computer. This is where I'm sat at the moment. This is my computer. Just got a new 27-inch monitor, upgraded from 23.8 inch to 27 inch. And this is where I spend most of my time while I'm working here. Bill Murray, you're awesome. A Bioshock, or the Bioshock doll that I made a few years ago now. Remember, folks, comparison is the thief of joy. That's one of the mantras that I try to live by. And also, actually, the wallpaper for my computer has been the same for years now. I think for the past 5 years at least. It is a reminder that when one door closes, another door opens. There's all sorts of weird and wonderful doors in this world, and this is just a selection of some of them that are available. So, also in front of the screen we have Mal's Firefly Mal pistol. This is a resin prop, so I got off eBay and painted and finished myself. It was the first sort of urine. Yeah, is it urethane resin? That's it. Yeah, thing that I ever finished, and so I finished it using sort of Games Workshop painting techniques, and I think it worked out quite well. It's it feels good in the hand, and you can tell it's sort of been cast from at least a stunt version of the gun, because it looks quite good. But anyway, that sits there on a base that I made for it. Moses Brothers Firearms Self-Defense Engine Frontier model. So that's more or less what I spend a lot of my time looking at. This is the webcam that normally I would be live streaming through. Indeed, I was just live streaming through. And that's the second screen on my desk. And we'll look above the desk in a moment. It's a brilliant replica. I love this thing, and hence it's in front of me all the time when I'm working. Blue Yeti microphone, good for voiceovers, again mainly for work purposes, and then a selection of useful and random things. A pen torch. This often comes in handy when I'm looking for things, especially if I lose stuff in the office or stuff falls underneath furniture. Bottle opener, my dad's pipe. A little bit of tobacco still in there, but I just like sometimes just chewing on it. Just good for thinking, kind of thing. Wonderful permanent marker. Now I don't know if I'm getting off topic already by showing you this stuff, but this is just sort of, I guess, this is the preamble to the geekery. But this permanent marker is called a Pika ink, and I found it because of Adam Savage's Tested YouTube channel, and it's a brilliant thin form factor permanent marker that's great for writing on all manner of stuff. I mean, frankly, I've labelled CDs, DVDs, game storage boxes, all sorts of stuff with this really nice thin form factor permanent marker. I always have my Leatherman sidekick close by, engraved with my initials, and again, this is just stuff that's the kind of like my everyday usage. Here, and this, you may have noticed that in the initial shot I looked a bit darker than normal, or a little less well lit. This is the setup that I use for lighting myself on live stream. So I have two light panels. Light panel A is the one that you can change the color temperature on. So there's blue through, and yellow and white color tones that you can vary. B is just white, but you can change the brightness. And I have them both here. Normally this guy would be on here. I'd have it sort of set up kind of like that there, and then the power for it lives here. So this is where I keep the power cable, just there, power cable capture and a cable capture. The cable captures actually have been part of a recent push to modify and make my living space more sorted, in so much as on the desk space, and yes, that is Batman Van Gogh style for my mouse man. But this space here has been, as it were, revolutionized by using some of these cable captures, just to make sure that all of this stays as tidy as possible. So this is the webcam out for this guy here. This is the Steel Series headphones that I'm wearing now and live streaming with, which feeds through to here. It's actually attached via a Velcro square to the desk, which is quite nice because I have a Velcro square on my streaming laptop, so I can take that off and put it onto there when I'm using it. And then so the Steel Series would normally be captured here, and then this guy is the USB for my beautiful 10 terabyte, I think, backup live stream, backup storage, sorry, hard drive storage, external hard drive. It is, I call it Cthulhu because it's big and scary, and it's where I keep all my archive, all my life, all my work is on that thing there. Came out of the YouTube scare, what was it called? I can't remember what it's called now. But when they were talking about, is this video for minors or not, all this kind of thing, I backed up everything I've ever done, especially for Arcade Soup and Archaeology on here, and also now I keep all my Soups IP videos on there as well. This I always keep handy. This is my Stars Resident Evil ID. You never know when you're going to need it. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Also, my accession number there, 0824, is I think one after Jill Valentine in canon, maybe one before Chris or something. Copper, that was it. Yes, was it copper? Yeah, copper. And this though is not copper. This is brass. Stars badge, nice metal badge, and I love it. Absolutely love it. Special Tactics and Rescue Service. I always have it close by. But this relates to stuff that's up there, but we'll come back to that in just a second. This basically is where this is where I spend most of my time editing and living and working, facing this wall and this desk, and I've carefully crafted it to be as useful as possible, right down to actually during the first of the lockdown, so last March, my lovely wife needed to make use of what I did have here as a recording surface for when I do I work with a colleague. We record a vodcast or whatever, a monthly sort of commentary on archaeological news. I had essentially a keyboard stand and a piece of wood that went on it just here, and when my lovely wife needed to work upstairs during the lockdown, we had to get rid of it, or rather she had to borrow it. So I decided we decided actually together to make this. It's a modified drawer mechanism and two pieces of a wardrobe that we took apart earlier last year that comes like that, and I can rest my laptop here, have this wonderful screen turned to face where I'm sitting, and it becomes its own sort of streaming studio thing with that background behind me. It's a really nice setup that I'm really, really pleased with. And actually, to be honest, I use it quite often now in like a half open status, so sort of maybe there to rest my earphones on, or you know, if I have to get up during a live stream, sometimes a cup of coffee will go there. It's nice just to have a little pull out extra surface. I've also actually used this in the live stream we did when I was changing the PS4 controller battery, actually. So you can pull it out and have it sort of like that as a space, so I could sort of work down on it from sort of here and then have that as my background, if that makes sense. And then have the webcam attached to this, looking down at this work surface. So it's a nifty little thing that came out of necessity, and I really like it. I'm very pleased with how that turned out. Anyway, this preamble has gone on for long enough. I've meandered and obfuscated, waiting to see how and when people will turn up. And let's now take a look at the stuff behind me. So where to start? I suppose let's start at the top and then work our way down, I guess. So at the top, I think this hasn't really changed since. Let me just make this a touch bigger so I can see what I'm framing. Yeah, so some stuff hasn't really changed since I first did an office talk. So for example, I still store Game Boy Advance games, Game Boy Micro, Game Boy accessories, DS Lite, Game Boy Advance SP, and Game Boy accessories up here above the office door. So basically, as I come in, that's what's above me. And it's a handy way to store that stuff. It keeps it from being dusty. It means that everything is accessible and findable. And I don't know. I think that came out of like an extension of what I was doing over here. I just decided to apply it to my my small portable consoles. Here's the place where I have all my sunglasses. I've talked about that in a previous video. I love sunglasses. I need sunglasses. I have very sensitive eyes, so having them all hanging there is useful. And then behind the door is just a fairly random collection of stuff. Lucky Charms, cereal box. For years, whenever I saw Lucky Charms in film, I would be like, what do they taste like? And then they recently became available in a local store. I tried them, and well, that's the only box I've had, put it that way. The design there for the TARDIS cupboard upstairs, which we converted a small cupboard on the land. Well, small cupboard, it's just like a square cupboard with a full front door, into a. Hang on, don't want to pull my earphones wire out. Into a TARDIS fronted cupboard. We were calling it the TARDIS anyway, so I took a photo of the door and then designed the TARDIS around that. Let's rehang this. There we go. The door hook on the back of the door is an Atari controller. It's quite a nice little thing actually. And then I just have some random stuff hanging there. Fob watch or two, Kylo Ren's lightsaber, you know, etc. So that's the back of the door. And then up here. Now, again, it's one of those things where please do feel free to either ask questions or tell me something isn't particularly interesting, because not all of this will be super interesting. But we have a little metal C-3PO that I have had since I was a teenager. I think my mum got me that for Christmas. Funko Pop of the original assassin from Assassin's Creed. Well, Assassin's Creed. Mr. Bump, because I am Mr. Bump. I'm very, very clumsy. And riding Thunderbird 2 is a teddy bear that I was given when I graduated, hence the mortarboard. Graduated from uni there. We have Spider-Man, probably my oldest Spider-Man figure. You can tell he's quite old because one of his fingers snapped off, actually quite recently, but I think that's to do with plastic fatigue more than anything else. And then there we have, this is Batman. This is a horse in a bat costume, in a Batman costume. I have absolutely no idea why he's in that, but he turned up in a local charity shop and I couldn't resist him. So Bat Horse, sorry, is sitting behind my favourite incarnation of the TARDIS console. A friend got me the whole TARDIS playset for Christmas a couple of years ago, but this one is my favourite version of the TARDIS, with one of my favourite Doctors, David Tennant, there. Timmy, I think, the sheep, Shaun the Sheep's friend. We have the one of the light cycles from Tron Legacy, and it's a genuine shame that they didn't go on to make a third Tron movie, actually. Yeah, the Batman horse thingy is all a bit weird. Got to go. Okay, take care, Matthew. You take care. And yeah, the horse thing really is weird, but I kind of liked him. Shame they didn't make a third movie, but we had the light cycle and I think it's Kara, the character there. Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my brother, Anakin. I loved you. Do not underestimate my power. And also a Stormtrooper, Mr. Potato, or Mr. Potato Head. An okay model of the of Ecto 1. This guy was sort of given to me. I think I need to paint it really and make it a bit better than it is. It's a bit naff. But again, we have Ghostbusters Afterlife coming up soon, so maybe that's a good excuse to properly modify that thing. We have Edward Kenway, Funko Pop figure, backed by one of the Space Marine bike boxes, classic box from my youth, which I simply had to keep from my youth, from when I was a young man. Since I have to keep that in some way. And then up here is a poster for Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. It's an Amiga game. You can see Amiga just there at the bottom of the poster. Amiga Mania, I think it says. And it's a great poster that I used to have hanging actually over here, just over there, but I decided instead to go with this is the placement for it. The Fate of Atlantis, which I think I have now as a Steam download. I have to give that game a go sometime. Nuka-Cola poster, obviously self-printed out there, just on paper, and the transforming USS Enterprise D on the gooseneck stand that I did in a video a little while ago now. It's a great way of storing it, and it keeps it flying, and I suppose relevant really within my things. Now, just to quickly do something with the PC. So a window's just opened up where it shouldn't be. There we go. All this stuff. Little Transformer. I guess that's number one. Some Mighty Max figurines, a pop-open Pokeball, Rupert the Bear, Teddy Bear, along with... Oh no! Along with a Monty Python horse clacker, 2 coconut shells, which work quite well. They were actually part of a friend of mine's birthday party. She was having a Monty Python themed birthday party, which also came with the Monty Python Holy Ale in the bottle there, which was actually quite a nice beer. So I kept them both. Superman and Batman apparently ready to have a fight. We have the Ben Reilly version of Spider-Man here, with the web shooters outside the costume on the wrists there. And he was actually my first introduction to Spider-Man before I knew that the Clone Saga was apparently not great. But I quite liked it. It was one of the few sort of exposures to Spider-Man I had growing up in North Wales in the 90s. So there he is. Oh, what's his name? We have Perceptor and is it Jack? No. Oh, what's his name? Good guy. Good guy. Soundwave, basically, as a transformer. It's going to bother me now. Surely, so one of you guys must know his name. What's his name? Output earphone. No, don't tell me he's got an output that's not there. No one. Is it Blaster? Blaster? Maybe? I don't know. Well. Anyway, Bobblehead, Jack Skellington, and yes, Salad Fingers himself. He likes it when the red water comes out. More Mighty Max back here, along with a box for a terrible game that I love the box art of. So someone was selling the box it's alone on eBay, so I picked it up. Alien vs Predator for Super NES. A strange little light-up gnome thingy that actually the person whose birthday party we had Monty Python themed gave to me. She didn't like him, but you can just about see that the colour sort of comes in. There you go. Sort of, yeah. It looks better in the night time. A funny little thing I made in high school that actually, let me just sit down for a moment. I want to untangle myself. This guy I made in high school, and I couldn't tell you necessarily what it's about. So it's a there you go, made when I was 15 in 1999, and even then I was like, question mark? It's a clay hand with two eyes, two different eyes actually, a nose, a cheeky little mouth, and then various fingernails and a smiley face. I think I was just having fun with surrealism, but he stayed with me. It stayed with me for ages now, and what's supposed 21 years now, blimey. And yeah, I'm still trying to figure him out. He just came to me in high school, and he's been my friend ever since. So I'll put him down here just for now. Back to the shelf. So a slightly better view of probably my favourite Mighty Max playset there, sort of the Frankenstein's lair kind of setup. Rupert the Bear. This is Rupert that I get out the way, X-Wing, that I made with my dad. It was one of the last things that I made with Dad before he died, actually. So he died when I was about 5, and this Lego Rupert, I remember really wanting to make Rupert the Bear. So obviously we have the Rupert the Bear teddy bear, but then this Rupert here, and he I remember he gave me lots of room to yeah, I was only 4 or 5, so he gave me lots of space to make this myself, but he also helped me to make it the way I was imagining it, as opposed to just what I was able to do. So I remember being really grateful that he actually slightly took over and did the face there and the muzzle, and this kind of thing. Reminds me of one of those Mighty Max playsets. Yes, I suppose actually the hand is a bit sort of Mighty Max playset-y, isn't it? So yeah, maybe. A recent X-Wing model that I bought and have carefully hung, so it sort of dangled. Had to modify the paint job a little bit myself to dirty it up, which I'm quite proud of. Yeah, the look of it, that is. You know, it's quite a nice thing. Daryl, all shot up in season 2 of The Walking Dead. A bobble-headed, sorry, an antenna-headed, interesting-looking lady from, I think, Rick and Morty. I just thought that she was a cool-looking model. Frankly, I thought she was you know, like a disciplinarian type, librarian type thing, which I thought was quite funny. Behind Daryl, and is it a Q-Fig? Yes, a Q-Fig version of Doctor Strange with his magic there, which is quite cool. And of course, Buzz Lightyear. I've talked about Buzz in a previous video, just how important my first Buzz was for me. And then I saw this Buzz a couple of years ago in the Disney store. And he actually does everything that the Buzz in the movie does, the toy does. He's got the chop action, he's got properly popping out work, lighting up wings, all this kind of thing. He is Buzz from the movie, and that's why I had to have him as a grown-up. This is a metal batarang that a friend of mine made for me. It's cut out of galvanized. Is it galvanized steel? So it's not rusting, in other words. But it's based on the Arkham series Batarang. And then actually down here we have a Batarang that he made for me, based on obviously the Nolan movies. And they're both really cool. I haven't tried throwing them as anything yet. Maybe I should. Maybe I should set up a target in the back garden, have a go. That could be an interesting experience. But anyway, that's the second shelf. And then here we move on to a tiny little shrine to Kirk, and oh rats! Oh no, I'm getting tangled up in cables again. To Captain Kirk, along with the communicator there as well, which actually was a really nice little thing. Both of these were in cache converters, and I love the way that they created this spinning effect on the dial there, just using simple lines on a perspex sheet, and then a rotating sort of I don't know, like a rotating sundial type thing, you know, the radial lines coming out. It creates this sort of really interesting patterns, and then it should make, oh, maybe the battery's getting a bit low. Excuse me. Should make noise sound effects like, yeah, can I do it, Captain? But maybe I need to replace the batteries or something sometime. This is one of my favourite things in this room. You know that time when they were making toys for films that kids weren't really meant to be watching? Actually, I mean, so Arnie here from Terminator 2 is a good example of that. So Arnie, and then obviously Ripley in the Power Loader fighting an alien queen, was something that I couldn't watch as a kid, but I had an awareness of sort of the imagery. And presumably that was part of the goal, was to make it so that, okay, we'll have some toys associated with this film, and kids will just want to play with it anyway. So they made them, and it's an interesting version of Ripley in there. She's got like a neckerchief type thing going on, and also my favourite thing is that on the back of the arms there's a button just there that actually activates the claws. So I don't know if, yeah, there you go. So you push it there, and that's her head. She's grabbing the queen. Get away from her. Brownie, my ever faithful teddy bear, my first and my favourite, constant companion. Captain Haddock, along with a wooden version of Snowy from Tintin, next to Flight 714, my first ever Tintin book. Print out of the cover anyway. And then more Spider-Man type stuff. This is one of those Spider-Man figures where you can sort of pop the head down, and his eyes will change. It's quite nice, actually. I think that's possibly my favourite one. Although maybe, oh, I'll go with that. He can be scowling at us while I'm broadcasting him to the world. Samus Aran figure, a strange little Nintendo thing that was in Smith's Toys recently. Along with, I think we have her little Samus box there, just behind Arnie in the background. You can just about see. And I think her ball, the ball that she transforms into, is in that box actually. Another Assassin's Creed Funko Pop. I definitely went through a phase of loving that series, didn't I? Val Kilmer Batman playset. This thing deserves a video of its own, actually. It opens up to be the Batcave from Batman Forever. I won't open it up now because I'll make a mess. But maybe that should be a video in the future. Next to Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. He's as old as me, as old as I am. On his foot it's at 1984. The Real Ghostbusters, the animated series, which now actually apparently is available on YouTube. They're making them available for obviously for free, to watch in the build-up to Ghostbusters Afterlife. Well, this is the equipment that they would use in the animated series to scan for ghosts. I've definitely talked about this in a previous video. My second ever Spider-Man figure here, one of my favourites, although I never really liked the way that he was meant to be holding on to webbing there. You can see his fist is closed, but his fist is moulded shut. Like, there's no way of putting any webbing in his hand. You can actually have him swinging or anything like that. It's a bit annoying, but anyway. Little Lego tumbler, Batman tumbler. The bat signal with Joker and Harley behind. A plush Deadpool. A beautiful figure of the Predator, one of the Predators from Predators, as opposed to, yeah, so Predator's the Robert Rodriguez movie. He's one of those guys, as opposed to the Predator or the Predator in Predator 2. Another Jack Skellington, and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. So this is Tobey Maguire in the suit here. Hanging above a crocheted version of Boba Fett on a keyring. It was made for me by a lovely friend. Now this unit here is completely new in the past year or so. This is a 9 cube unit that I installed, well, frankly, to make better use of this space back here. And I've tried to have each of the cubes be vaguely thematic, although it's not easy with the range of stuff that I have in this room. So first of all, on top, quite a wide range of things. We have Connor, the Funko Pop from Assassin's Creed 3. We have obviously Ash from Army of Darkness. Batman on his pod from The Dark Knight. The Crow, I've made a video about that statue, I think, in the past. Can't remember actually. Dante from the OK, not great but OK, Dante's Inferno game, which I played on the Xbox 360. A bouncy-headed, a bobble-headed Kenny, sort of zombified, which is absolutely perfect because I actually found him abandoned on a building site. He was completely abandoned, all soggy in the mud, and I thought, oh, Kenny, man, you got to come home with me. So that's where Kenny lives, and he bounces slightly. The floor has a little bit of a bounce to it, so his head bobbles quite a lot actually. Superman, Batman. Actually, my lovely wife and I are currently making our way through the animated series once more. This time on Blu-ray. She's loving it. I'm so pleased that she's enjoying it actually, and that's obviously the Batman from that series. Mr. Bump alarm clock. You meant to chuck him when the alarm goes off, but he hasn't got any batteries because I can't bring myself to throw him around. Some slime, and this guy here. This is an award I received in one of my first archaeological jobs after a work night out, celebrating a festival. Long story short, at the Jorvik Viking Festival. Me and my colleagues had drunk a lot of mead, shall we say, and I went on an inebriated waffly nonsense exploration of how well we'd all done. So me, my fellow quote-unquote Vikings, so the people who I work with as Vikings, and also sometimes as archaeologists, and also all the senior management were there in a very small room in a York pub, and I waffled on for apparently a long time. so I won an award, the Inebriated Waffly Nonsense Award. Me waffling on about nothing. Honestly, can you imagine such a thing? Just here, actually, we have some patches from Days Gone. I got these along with the steel case for the game when I realised just how much I loved Days Gone. So these patches are from that. I think they're from the special edition of the game. I would like to get the bike statue of him sat in front of his bike, Deke sat in front of his bike, but I'm not sure. I can't really justify the expense now, because now it's no longer a thing that's commercially available. The price is rocketing on eBay. Anyway, we have these. They're quite nice little details from the game. If you've ever played it or never played it, I would say give it a go. And if you have played it, you may recognise some of that stuff. So on to the pods. So here are pod number 1 is a pod where I have decided to keep all of my Osborne puzzle books. It's one of the first videos I ever made on this channel. It's one of my favourite collections of books ever. The Osborne puzzle books just delighted me as a child, and they still delight me to this day. And with them, I keep my original Thunderbirds toys. TB2 was crucial as a kid. I simply had to have that, and also a little statue of Deadpool escaping from an explosion there. Quite pleasing. Part number 2, we have a random selection of 90s-ishness, late 80s, early 90s stuff. Captain Bucky O'Hare. I remember watching that, oddly enough, with my grandparents, because I think it was on, let me think, it would be on just before Baywatch was on. So my so my granddad would be really eager to watch Bucky O'Hare with me, and then get me out of the room. I had no idea why, but basically he just wanted to sit there and, I think he just wanted to be like, whoa, at Baywatch. It was, thinking about it, it's not very nice, is it? Psycho Pinball. Floppy disk. Psycho Pinball is still my favourite pinball game. I mainly play it on the Mega Drive, but when I saw there was this floppy disk version, I picked it up at a local charity shop, I think like 10p or something. It probably doesn't work anymore. It's probably disk rot has ruined the game by now. But yeah, I like the packaging. Psycho Pinball. Oh, brilliant! You found the channel from searching for Osborne puzzle books. Well, exactly. Yeah, they're just magnificent. They really are. And I mean, my first one was Escape from Blood Castle. Is it? It's magnificent. It's just magnificent. And you, intrepid Ivor, trying to figure his way out of the castle. We have Dustin Hoffman's Hook figure, a bouncy ball, some bouncing magic beans, which I remember getting very excitedly when I was a kid. Biker Mice from Mars there, flanking some mini Boglins in their box, and a sort of Terminator version of a troll. And then behind the Biker Mice we have some cassette tapes, one of which is Right Said Fred's is it Wonder Man? It was all about Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, look it up. It's on, I think it must be on YouTube. Is it Wonder? I think it's Wonder Man, and it's basically Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I think they hired Right Said Fred to do a soundtrack for it, and I've got the tape there. It's interesting. This is a very random collection of things in this pod. More random actually than it first looks. So you might think, well, that's Star Wars and other stuff, but it sort of is and sort of isn't. So here we have my Tazos collection. Star Wars Tazos was a very particular thing that came in crisp packets when I was a kid, and that's in that folder there. That's definitely a future video. Then we have the Star Wars data file, essentially a collection of little cards. Filofax was a huge thing certainly in the 90s. I had lots of Filofax, but I had one where I was you were a spy investigating some deadly happenings. I think it was called, there you go, Fun Facts. Yeah, so sort of connected, but also not. A book on Indiana Jones, which I've got. Someone gave me as a grown-up, next to a book that my brother-in-law gave me, the complete Star Wars. What they called? The very famous card collection. It's the Topps Cards collection. There you go. So 1 page per card. Ready Player One as a book. 2 volumes of Death Note. Random volumes as well, actually. I think this is volume 1 and 2, so it could be worse. A graphic novel about the smartest boy in the on Earth. And then one of my favourite Warhammer magazines next to a Lego sticker book. So this is a slightly random pod, but it's stuff that kind of goes together in my head at least, along with some Games Workshop trump cards, sort of top trump, which my brother and I actually made up a game for. So the game we wrote on this piece of paper, we stored it all together with an elastic band. Again, at some point that's going to have to be a video, I think, where we sort of go through this game in a video, because the models are beautifully painted. Those sort of, I say, those mid-90s versions of Games Workshop. Grook the Loon. Yes, that's a thing that's going to happen. I'll put him over here with the hand. This thing turned up at the beginning of a video once about Star Wars. So it's like a scrolling asteroid field. So you scroll it using the turner on the side, and then you use this little stick to maneuver the Millennium Falcon through the asteroid field. So it's an odd one, but it kind of makes sense to me-ish. Now I'm just going to maneuver a little bit again. Don't want to tie myself up in knots. Excuse me, sorry about the wobbling camera. So down here we have a little box, a little pod dedicated to various Batman things. So we have a Harley Quinn statue, which was actually the third statue that someone sent me recently. They finally owned up to who they were, and they asked me not to say who they were. So, but I'm nonetheless featuring this beautiful Harley Quinn, which goes very nicely with the Poison Ivy and the Batman. And I thought that she looked quite good there. We have Catwoman from the classic series, Joker, obviously Heath Ledger's Joker. At the back, Gotham by Gaslight Batman. We have Batman as a vampire in the Blood Rain or the Red Rain series, Red Mist. And then we have Batman as played by what's his name? Back to the Dark Knight trilogy Batman. We have that Batman there, a Zatanna figure and a Catwoman figure, which I did actually say that I was going to take out of the box because these two I came across. I think I came across in a random trip to a Cash Converters. But they never made it out of the box. They're kind of both back there. Christian Bale. They're both back there in the pod. They look kind of cool in their box. I like the packaging. I don't often keep things in their box. I like to play with them and to use them. But we'll see. Next to that, we have a zombie-themed pod. This pod is checking the framing there. Sorry, yeah, cool. This pod is all things zombie. So we have Max Brooks' Survival Guide, Max Brooks' Survival Guide Recorded Incidents. We have a collection of zombie comics. We have a Victorian Undead zombie comic, which is quite cool. A Choose Your Own Adventure zombie apocalypse book, which my wife and I read in the garden outside the York Minster. That was quite good fun one year. And obviously World War Z. And then we have a little diorama. So this is sorry, I'm a little bit distracted. I think the music stops for some reason on the Resident Evil loop. Will that help? Oh, it's not playing for some reason. Nope, it's gone away. Fair enough. Morgan. You have Morgan setting up his zombie traps in, I think it's the episode Clear. He keeps on saying he's got to clear the town. This is where he's still getting used to coming to terms with the death of his son Dwayne. A really cool zombie pop figure, and Daryl not injured. This is when he's relatively competent and confident before he's fallen into the ravine. And then next to that we have a Stranger Things pod, and this pod is again, two boxed figures in the back. I've kind of kept them in their boxes, not because I like the packaging, but because there's lots of bits that comes with them. There's hands and things. We have Chief Hopper and 11. We have 11 from season 2 of Stranger Things, floating up as a pop figure, and then some what they called orbs, pop orbs or orb pops or something. 2 versions of 11, Dustin and a Demigorgon as well there. along with Visions from the Upside Down, the art book. And then this book here is actually really cool. It's a book that's designed to look like it's come from the library, or from a. It's from the store, isn't it? It's from Condition Fair. It's from the store where Joyce Byers works, and it's got this sort of this dust jacket that's all torn up. They had a note when I bought it on the back saying, "Don't worry, the book's meant to look like this." I really like it. I've definitely seen books that look like that in real life, as it were. I'm just going to take another look at the live stream audio, because for some reason it's just not coming through for me. You can still hear the music. Okay, well that's great. That's great. I don't know why it stopped for me. Anyway, yeah. So I quite like that pod. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry if this live stream's slightly falling apart for you guys. But yeah, that's a nice little pod that I like. Down here we have much less interesting stuff. We have a selection of bags that I use for work, camera bags and stuff. Drone stuff that I use for work, so for filming archaeological sites from the air, and then a random money box. So coins and stuff, change that makes its way into there. Up here is where you probably are quite familiar with this view. This area here is more or less where I film most of my videos, in this corner. But the the shelf has changed quite a lot. The shelves have changed quite a lot since I first set them up a couple of years ago. Now I just need to turn around because this cable is driving me nuts. There we go. Much better. So this shelf is still basically DC, but you may recall a couple of years ago now I set up, or we decided to set up one of the sort of the spare cupboards in our room as a graphic novel cupboard, basically. So lots of these books, most of those books migrated upstairs, but these are some of my favourite DC stories. This is a selection of books which are basically ghost stories and spooky stories, things that I pull out at Halloween or that I like to sometimes read if I'm in a sort of creepy mood, along with Scott Pilgrim. I really need to get around to properly reading all of Scott Pilgrim. I love the movie. I do love Volume 1, 2, and 3. I need to read 4, 5, and 6 though of Scott Pilgrim. Up here, even more random, I have to say. So some DC, a puzzle book or two. This is stuff that again I want to get around to read at some point in the near future. And also a weird computer coding games book next to actually something which I do quite enjoy having, and that's Stay Puft Marshmallows bag. Just seems to be the place to put it, really. Up at the top, a boxed Spider-Man potato head. We have a weird Japanese version of Rodimus Prime there, who I saw in a what's that? So, hey Mark, Gav here. Can't watch the Mo, but we'll certainly catch this later. All the best. New monitor, good. Yes, the new monitor is very good. I love the new monitor. Thank you. But yeah, briefly, there was a toy shop that set up in Wallsend, and this is one of the things that they had on one of their random shelves, and I was just intrigued by it, this version of Rodimus Prime. Batman from the Arkham City game, special edition. I didn't have the special edition at the time. Actually, I didn't have a PlayStation, but I saw the statue on eBay and simply had to have it. It was amazing. And then Darth Maul, a money box that I've had since I was a teenager. The bottom has fallen out of the money box, so you can't store money inside him anymore. But I think he looks like a daredevil, about to ride off the bookcase. And along the top of the window here, where in the past year or so I've installed a little shelf to store some fairly nice selection of things. So we have some Disney Infinity figures of Star Wars characters, mostly Rebels here. There's Ahsoka Tano, Anakin Skywalker, a dinosaur which I've had since primary school. This dinosaur has been with me. A ghoul, a little Iron Man figure, another Spider-Man. This is I think this is the third Spider-Man figure I ever owned, and his hand is open. Notice his right hand, so he can actually swing on things. Olimar, the amiibo, Shovel Knight, Wallace from Wallace and Gromit, a 3D printed dwarf that I think I bought off Etsy and painted. I quite like that. Actually, it's like a dwarven statue. I was going to use that in a D&D game, but then the D&D group fell apart sadly. And Spider-Man and Venom, Disney Infinity. It's funny. I've never actually played Disney Infinity, but I really like the style of some of the figures that they have, and also the ability to have these guys together was quite pleasing actually. Now, actually, speaking of which, you may well notice that I've got rid of, since my last tour, quite a few of the smaller bits and bobs that were on these shelves, because they just weren't they weren't giving me a lot of joy, I have to say. So I'll just sit down for a sec, because I need to have a sip of tea. So I'm just going to change cameras for a moment and hopefully disentangle myself from things. There we go. Yeah, they weren't. So I had, for example, some of the Guardians of the Galaxy, I seem to recall, in little mini figure form on the shelves back there, and they just. Well, first of all, it was impossible to get hold of Gamora, so I couldn't get them all. So I decided to let go of them. So Groot, Rocket, and Star-Lord, they've gone to a charity shop now, and so what I've been trying to do is make sure that, or try and ensure that everything on the shelves there, up there, and then also in the shelves that we're about to look at as well, are things that really resonate and bring me lots of joy in my day-to-day existence. And that's more or less the philosophy of this entire space. I try and keep it so that it's fun, it's relevant, it's exciting to come in here and do what I need to do. But then also at the same time as well, that it's not just a workspace. It's very much a space where I can geek out and generally. Nice tour so far, though. Oh, thank you, Beck. Thank you. Yeah, where I can escape as well. So this is an escape space and a workspace. And as I say, for a 2.3 meter square room, I think I fitted an awful lot in here. I'm just gonna have one more sip of my actually it's coffee, of my coffee in a tea mug. Blimey, my wife won't be happy. I've besmirched one of her tea mugs with coffee. Anyway, let us crack on with this side of the room. So I'm back at my desk, facing the infinite live stream. Ooh. Oh, actually, I know what's happened there. I've accidentally turned up the ISO. There we go. That's probably better. Oh, what's going on here? Honestly, calm down. There we go. Right. So above my lovely new monitor, which now, as I say, it's making the most of this space. So I've gained about 3 inches on the monitor, and it's a very thin framed monitor. But between there and there, I had about 60 something centimeters, 61, I think 62 centimeters to play with. So this monitor was the right choice for this space. Above that, I had to, in order to fit this monitor in the other day, raise this shelf where I keep work receipts, an inbox for letters and things, and some CDs. These are Terry Pratchett novels for the most part, and also obviously Castle Explorer, but Terry Pratchett novels that I'm waiting to burn, put onto my phone so I can listen to them. So I had to raise this shelf a little bit, but that's fine because I didn't want to be able to pack this shelf with crap. Last time I did a tour of this room, this shelf here was just a mess, an absolute mess. But then up above there we have the wireless printer, and we have a selection of things that are both useful and, as it were, inspirational. So I have my PC controller carried by a 1776 Fallout 76 version of God, what's his name? Is it Fallout Boy? Of him, anyway, the character, and that's a useful use for him, especially for such a bad game. We have now this. I'm not sure what I think. Is it called a hell bug? It's on the base of it. This is something which I saw in a local charity shop one day and thought this is amazing. Defiance Tryon Worlds. I think it's a hell bug, but it's a really cool looking thing. I really enjoy the sort of the Lovecraftian and the weird and freaky in sci-fi design. And this guy staring down at me from above is really quite pleasing when I'm working. Behind that we have the Umbrella Corporation chest plugs that I made. I made a video about that, or did that in a video a few years ago now, along with with a tyrant figure that never seems to be able to stand up, which is a bit annoying. But this guy here, let's blow it, is a chest box that I very carefully constructed into being the I have to forgive the camera shake for a second, being a almost like an Umbrella Corporation archive entry. So this is stuff that was recovered from the site, from the exposure. Vault Boy, that's it, Vault Boy, yes. Oh no, Fallout Boy is a band, isn't it? Anyway, so it's as though sort of Hunk and Co, Umbrella mercenaries have gone into. I'm sorry, I'm trying to fix the camera here again. Just a second. There we go. That's better. I've gone into the Fallout Boy. I've gone into the Fallout of Raccoon City and I've recovered this evidence, the chest plugs that we used in the game to open up, I think, access to the sewers, I think. And then as part of that, again, the video is there, so definitely feel free to watch it. As part of that, though, I also included the diary entry that refers to this guy's obsession with chess. It's got blood on the entry. I found that 1998, Saturday the 19th of September, was indeed a Saturday, so I did that. And I copied the Watchman's diary entry from the game and printed it out as though it's a torn out page from the diary. I very much enjoyed making this. I recently talked to the old man who works in the scrapyard out back. His name is Thomas. He's a quiet man and really seems to enjoy chess. So that's up there, like a little little sort of in-game Easter egg from Resident Evil 2, along with the tyrant. Up above we have up above. If I can not trip over the cable, we have my growing collection of hidden side Lego, and I've talked about the Shrimp Shack, the Shrimp Boat, which also comes along with the Shrimp Shack in terms of the logic of the Lego, as being sort of Lovecraftian Lego. But the Grimsmouth Cove Lighthouse, well, this actually isn't part of Hidden Side, but I think it goes really nicely with the theme. This is an underwater explorers set, along with this underwater diorama of a sort of a cultist statue. Is so subversive. The Lego laboratory here as well. The color scheme being all kind of muted greens and greys and browns. I really love this version of Lego, or this part of Lego. I recently got the graveyard as well, and it brings me a lot of joy again just to have that within easy glance at the desk to be able to look at the hidden side Lego stuff and just to imagine some of the horrific stories that are unfolding as they explore the depths. Look how scared he is. Ah! Here is a campus, no, it's a canvas rather, sorry, that I painted in high school. Sort of almost like little monuments in the desert. Quite a foreshadowing, pun intended, I suppose, foreshadowing painting from my career as an archaeologist. And up here is a little painting that I got from years and years ago in Colwyn Bay, I think, in North Wales, of Conwy Castle, my favourite castle in North Wales. And also, a little joke, canvas left intentionally blank. If anyone's ever done, well, it may be an international thing, but certainly British exams, GCSEs for example, would have page left intentionally blank, just so you wouldn't freak out if you came to a blank page in your exam. I thought the canvas being intentionally blank could be quite amusing. I'll talk about what's up there in a second. This is my second screen. It's a Samsung SyncMaster, and it's a really good screen. It's an old format, so obviously square, is it 4:3 format screen. Beautiful color values, almost HD actually in terms of the dot matrix. But just goes really well as a set with my main monitor. I've attached that to the wall with quite a hefty TV wall bracket, but it just works very well. And then on top we have a selection of Lego Star Wars mini sets that came with Lego magazines over the years. I've got loads of these that I need to make actually. So yeah, this has been by no means exhaustive. Back there we have a slightly spooky picture that I found one of my favourite artists did on Instagram, I think, and I asked for a print and they sent it my way, and it's a scary looking figure in amongst stone pillars, which actually is a little bit reminiscent of the canvas over there actually, and this is actually all about stone circles. So again, archaeology as a connection. I just found it quite compelling. So it sits behind my monitors, so when I'm at my desk I can sort of look up and go, oh, death is always lurking. This is a postcard of the door knocker at Durham Cathedral. This is a very famous piece of fantasy art, a floating castle. It's got the name is on the back of the postcard. I can't remember the name just now, but it's a beautiful thing, and that's why I have it. This is a cartoon that I cut out from a newspaper years ago that I found to be sort of grimly amusing. This lady, or man, no, actually no, it's a lady who's walking around in circles in the desert. So this one, along with this guy here, this person unlocking good ideas from a box, I actually had with me since uni. In fact, they've been floating around with me. So they're on the wall back there. A series of charging stations for batteries of different kinds. A drone battery charging station, along with a whole box and drawers here for different types of batteries that I may use in my day-to-day life. A little canvas, a little boat canvas that a friend sewed for me when I was working at the Jorvik Viking Centre. A little Viking boat. A canvas that says "good." A friend of mine got me that. She thought it would be good in my office. Platypus. Bluetooth headphones. Another alien figure. Star Wars Micro Machines, and unfortunately, a fallen Rey figure. Can't seem to get her to stand up. She doesn't want to stand up for some reason. It's a bit of a shame. And probably my favourite version of BB-8. It's quite a hefty figure. I think this is the Star Wars Black series, is it? This came out before The Last Jedi, so it was Rey from Force Awakens, and she just won't stand on her base. I think she's a bit top heavy, unfortunately. And a pop-out Millennium Falcon Micro Machine Star Wars playset, which I had a lot of fun with. Speaking of fun, I also really, absolutely do not regret getting hold of this foam crowbar. Loads of fun to sort of, well, I don't know, just to look at, to think about, to sort of, bop yourself on the head with. Nice to have no repercussions for something that looks so, well, so metallic and dangerous. Up here we have a very unsorted shelf of marble Lego, and really these guys have migrated as I've got more and more of the hidden side Lego sets, and actually at some point I may well get the medieval blacksmith, so goodness knows where that's going to go. But unless I need to sort this shelf, it's not particularly well sorted. Up here, the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man is just one of my favourites. Todd McFarlane did the Batman statue that I recently got, or someone recently sent me that I absolutely adore, and he did my favourite version of Spider-Man. Clearly, Todd McFarlane is my guy when it comes to comic book art. But this statue, I've done a video about that in the past, and it's wonderful. Silent Bob figure, brilliant. I don't know where I got him from, but I love the way he's looking at Peter Parker at Spider-Man, like, yeah, man. The droid from Rogue One in Lego form, I think he looks quite good here, looming at the back of the shelf from down here when you look up at him. Selection of Enterprises, the Enterprise E, I think, Enterprise D, Enterprise 1701, and the Enterprise NX, the NX01, Captain Archer's Enterprise from the Eagle Moss magazine series. Metal Beard from the Lego movie. I love it. I escaped with only me beard and some of me vital organs. Galvatron, I'm pretty sure I've talked about this guy in a previous video. And this version of Batman is one of my favourites. Actually, he's reminiscent of a book that now lives upstairs in my graphic novel cupboard. But Batman from Death by Design. Strangely enough, he didn't draw Death by Design. This is actually Batman by Dwayne Cook, I believe. But I really like this version of him. Very simplistic lines. I like the design of the bat on his chest. I love the way that he's posable, the way his head is posable. So he sits basically when I'm at my desk, I can be looking up, and there's Batman, just staring down at me. Magnificent, and also a plush BB-8 back there. Up here we have a photo collage, sort of like a take on the classic Japanese print, but with some Wind Waker elements thrown in. A lot of fun. We have a photograph of my first ever skeleton I excavated on a dig. I called him Fred. That's not very professional. Yeah, most archaeologists don't name their skeletons, but he was my first, and this would be before I really knew what I was doing. So I called him Fred in the summer of 2003, and I didn't even know how to photograph him properly. He took 3 photos and a really weird, wonky collage to get him in the frame there. But my first ever skeleton. A coat of arms that my uncle gave to my dad. Not even sure if that's a real coat of arms for the Asselses, but nonetheless they're a coat of arms. And then this is a collage of printouts on a sort of textured paper that I did of lyrics from a Scroobius Pip song. Scroobius Pip is a brilliant artist, sort of rap, sort of Sprechsang, really, really good, and it's someone or in his case, getting over a really, really bad breakup. And in this instance, this is sort of, I just found the lyrics really nice because it's about moving on from tragedy or discarding feelings of bitterness, this kind of thing, and using them to be creative. So it's meant to be like a Specsavers eye chart, but I've sort of printed it out and stuck it together on linen textured paper on the wall. And again, that goes above my desk as something encouraging for me to look at. So we have Bill Murray and we have Scroobius Pip encouraging me along as I'm working. I don't want to go into too much detail about what's over here because I'm not sure you'll be interested in most of it, but some of the stuff that I really like, for example, I like the printout, the 3D printed version of the St. Dismas Cross from Uncharted 4. got this off seller on Etsy. It comes with the map inside. I had to paint it myself, and I was really pleased actually with being able to bring out hints of some of the chipped paint and damage that's on the piece, despite it being 3D printed. So I'm quite pleased with that. Obviously, Tomb Raider statue. I've had that for years now, along with this one here from Area 51. The crystal from Raiders of the Lost Ark. The Tannis. He's digging in the wrong place, Indy. Many years ago I made this. This is a version of the Sankara stones. If I did it again, I would make it out of something clear and maybe put a light inside it so it glowed like a Sankara stone. Lego, what's it called? It's just called the Temple. I think the Lego set is called just the Temple, but it's the Well of Souls. That's it, from Raiders of the Lost Ark. I got that a couple of years ago now for my. Well, I'm a Lego person, and being an archaeologist, I simply had to get hold of that. This statue here, this is obviously the fertility idol from Raiders. This was actually given to me by a student at Newcastle University under very mysterious circumstances. Actually, they said go to Costa Coffee in Eldon Square and ask for so and so, and they'll give you this. No, they'll give you something, and this thing, and it's a heavy casting of the idol. So yeah, I was very grateful for that. A selection of things that I've got over the years doing my work, film work and educational work. Mr. Potato Head, Indiana Jones, lots of fun, and he also, I don't know if you can hear that, he when you bash his head, he makes the Raiders theme tune. Down here we have a Lego archaeology lab. This is from a Lego, an independent Lego maker in the US who sells sets and doesn't normally ship to the UK because of shipping costs. So they've really got worse actually in the past couple of years, shipping costs. But I managed to convince him to let me sort of pay the extra, and it's a beautiful Lego set, which I've added to over the years with a Portaloo, and they've got a drone operator as well now for the Lego archaeology unit. And then here, excuse me, sorry, here we have another random selection of things, but actually these are Playmobil. That's a Playmobil archaeology set that someone sent my way as well, actually. So all sorts of interesting, cool, funky stuff that I've gathered over the years, including my first and favourite trowel, as well as the trowel that I used. Actually, that trowel excavated Fred up there, in fact. And that's more or less my office. That's more or less where I live and work most of the time. And as I look around, I am surrounded by things that inspire, that I love, and that, even on some of the darkest days or darker days, give me cause for joy and hope. Well, this doesn't really give me cause for joy and hope, but this was the only place I could find to put the Joker poster I was handed when I went to see the Joker movie in the cinema. And I thought, well, actually I was handed 3 of them. I thought, well, actually it's quite fitting to have the Joker just sort of underneath a shelf where he's not immediately obvious. So yeah, he's back there. You might catch a glimpse of him in some videos. I guess when the camera's kind of here-ish, you sometimes see that shelf, don't you? I think so. The camera normally is about here. Yeah, a little bit of him. Anyway, that's something to look out for in future videos. I'm just gonna click this camera off, and there we go. Hopefully, I noticed that the concurrent viewers for the stream did fall a little bit throughout the stream. I'm sorry if it's been too wonky or a little bit boring here and there, but this is something that I've been wanting to do, because I keep on getting people asking, oh, can we have another room tour? And it didn't feel right to do a room tour until there was some significant change, and it wasn't until relatively recently that I made a lot of significant changes. Partly because of the pandemic, for example, changes to my workspace, but also actually, both my lovely wife and I, um, we've both been doing lots of sorting and rethinking of the house actually in general, which has led to things like, for example, well, actually, hang on, sorry, this is something to show. Although I didn't make clear. Up here is where I hang my A cameras. I've got a couple of cameras like this guy here, which live just above my sort of filming go bag. So I keep all my tripods down there. And this is a very hardy go bag. It's got I've had that on muddy, gravelly, all sorts of different archaeological sites. It's a brilliant bag actually. And I recently made this. It's a plywood hook to hang the camera there and let it charge. And it's been changes along those lines. Hang on, let me just try to do things with my left hand here on the computer. Changes along those lines that have really made this space even better as time's gone on. And so it feels functional, it feels joyful, it feels exciting to be in here. And so, for example, later this evening when I'm live streaming my initial impressions of the Shore computer game, which I don't know. Do I want to do that here, or do I want to do that on Arceus? I suppose we could do it here. Actually, that could be fun. But then again, I don't know. I'll think. I'll say, if you're interested in seeing the Shore, let me know in the comments. But as I wait to do that live stream, and as I think about doing that live stream this evening, it's going to be in this context, and that's surely a good thing. I feel very, very grateful, as they say, very blessed to have such a space in my life, and it's a space that I've carefully curated over the years, and it's hopefully only going to get more efficient and more packed with fun things. I don't know. Do you have any weird and wonderful questions? Actually, now that we're not moving around, I can set up my light here, just so you can just see me properly. But that's also one of the reasons why I decided to go with the Resident Evil save room music for this, because this feels essentially like my Resident Evil save room. This is where I can come to when the zombies are just they're almost biting my ankles off. I can come in here and be safe from the world outside, the sometimes zombie infested world outside. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say if I've ever really had a goal in this room. It's just it's basically my psychology splattered on the walls, really. And then other things are things that I've just picked up over the years. So, for example, you might have seen on my desk I have this green pointer. This was actually given to me by I was doing a primary school prehistory workshop, and someone just said she just saw that I was fascinated with this. I just couldn't stop. I was sort of pointing at things with it, and sort of at one point I was sort of pretending to pick my nose, and the kids were going ha ha ha. And this wasn't why she gave me it, by the way. Like, I didn't actually pick my nose, but she just saw that I was amazed by this very stereotypical hand. This thing that can sort of, I imagine it sort of coming in from the side, on old movies and pointing at things. And she decided I could have it. So this lives, in my office. It lives in a clip just there, just next to the screen. And again, it just brings me joy in that sense as well. There's another one. This came from the works close by. This is actually telescopic, so I can and it's slightly rubbery as well. And this one, you really can poke at things. Oh no! Yeah. So it ranges from the serious, things like tools and permanent markers and knives and screwdrivers, etc., torches, to the truly ridiculous. That's basically what my office is, what my cave is in that sense. I don't want to outstay my welcome, guys. So I'm more than happy to bring this stream to a close after an hour and a half of yabbering on. But hopefully it's been fun. And yeah, and I can scarcely wait to play play the shore this evening. I can't believe they're releasing it at 8 o'clock in the evening. They're like, it's releasing on the 19th of February 2021. So I was there at midnight, like, is it going to release this? When's it coming? When's it coming? It's 8 o'clock. 8 p.m. Honestly, that's like most of the day gone. That's 20 hours. 20 hours of the 24 hours in the 19th of February, which don't have the game in it. Okay, right. I'm going to leave that rant there. Again, guys, thank you so much for turning up. Hopefully this is an interesting video to look over as well after the fact. I may even have a look at it again at some point just to see how I might be able to improve these sorts of live streams in the future. But if there are any particular questions or thoughts, then I'll let you go. And maybe see you later on this evening for the shore. Depends on where I decide to stream it. As ever, guys, until next time, do take care. Have a lovely afternoon and a great weekend. Bye.